Right guys, another day and we are back for some more Championship transfer rumours. We've got a bunch more to go through in today's video. As always, if you did go to enjoy, make sure to drop a like. 700 likes would be massively appreciated. If you've seen anything else that we don't mention in today's video as well, make sure to get it in the comments down below. But without any further ado, let's just jump in. So starting out with some managerial speculation, and we'll start out with Middlesbrough because Steven Gerrard has emerged as the new bookies' favourites to land that Borough job. It does make me question if Borough were going after Gerrard, was there much logic and sense behind sacking Carrick, because I'd have so many reservations over that potential hire. But it's since come out from Teesside Live that Gerrard isn't under consideration for the Middlesbrough job, despite him being top of the bookies' odds right now. So I still think we're going to get a little bit more speculation over this role over these next few days. I also saw a report coming out the other day linking Marti Cifuentes to the Borough job as well. But likewise, according to Teesside Live, he's also not under consideration for that job either. If I had to put money on it right now, I'm probably leaning towards Rob Edwards as the most likely candidate to go in at Middlesbrough. Obviously, he was linked with that Bristol City and is being linked with that Bristol City job as well. But by all accounts, he is someone who is liked by Borough, and it seems like he'll at least be interviewed for that job. So while Gerrard is the bookies' favourites as of recording to land that Borough job, it doesn't look like the club will be going in that direction unless we get a twist in these next few days, let's say. So we've got Wrexham, who are currently in talks with Danny Ward over potentially bringing in the experienced goalkeeper on a free transfer after his contract at Leicester has expired. Obviously, he did come up through the Wrexham Academy, but never made a senior appearance for the club. I've got a few reservations over this one if Wrexham are going after him. I think I look at that Wrexham squad at the moment, look at all the positions that they're absolutely going to need to strengthen this summer to make that squad competitive for the Championship. And for me personally, bringing in another goalkeeper, at least another number one goalkeeper, which I'm assuming Ward would want to be, I think would be right down there in my list of priorities for Wrexham right now, because for me personally, Arthur Okonkwo is someone who could definitely make that step up from League One to the Championship. I think he'll be wanting to be that number one next season for them as well. He's only 23 years old, so he's still going to get better. And Danny Ward, coming off the back of how many years being a number two at Leicester, whenever he did play for the Foxes, I think we can all agree wasn't great either. Last season in League One, Arthur Okonkwo had the best save percentage of any goalkeeper in that league, 80.2%. I think it would be a shame if he was sort of dropped to the bench in favour of Ward, someone who, yeah, has been very hit and miss over these last few years. But we'll wait and see on that one. Wrexham fans, what's your sort of reaction to that link? And speaking of Wrexham, they are one of the Championship clubs who have made an inquiry over signing Blackburn midfielder Lewis Travis. They have been linked with the 27-year-old for the past week or so now, and this is the sort of signing that I think Wrexham should be making. He's at a good age, 27 years old, plenty of Championship experience. Obviously, they've been linked, Wrexham, with, you know, a few out-of-contract Premier League players that are sort of on the wrong side of 35. But to gradually strengthen that core of that squad, yeah, someone like a Travis would suit them down to the ground, in my opinion. He's coming off the back of a good season with Blackburn. Only got 1 year left in his contract at Ewood Park as well, so wouldn't cost the world to get out of that contract. It's been estimated that Blackburn would value him at anywhere from sort of 2 to 3 million. But they aren't alone in their interest. You've also got the likes of Birmingham, Sheffield United and Ipswich, who have all been linked as well. Millwall have announced that George Saville will be leaving the club this summer, despite being offered a new contract by the club. The club had reportedly offered him reduced terms on what he was previously on. He's gone ahead and rejected that contract, and it's looking like he's going to be signing for Luton Town in League One. Millwall fans, I'd be interested to get your reaction to this one. I do think he'll leave a gap in the squad that definitely needs to be replaced. Last season in the Championship, only 3 Millwall players played more minutes than Saville did. So a very prominent part of that squad. I know he's on the wrong side of 30 right now, but yeah, definitely going to need to be someone that is going to be need to replace. I know he's on the wrong side of 30 right now, but he is someone that's going to need to be replaced both on and off the pitch for the influence he had there. Another one that looks set to leave Millwall this summer is George Honeyman. Looks like Blackpool are targeting the 30-year-old. I don't think Millwall will miss him maybe as much as a Saville, but still played quite a prominent role in that Millwall squad last season. Started in 28 Championship matches, came off the bench on 12 occasions, got 7 goal contributions from midfield. Dropped down to League One, probably makes sense. I think he'd do well in that division. And this one's come out of the blue, but former Preston youngster Kean Best is reportedly attracting interest from Chelsea. Now, the worst thing about this from a Preston perspective is that I don't think the club would be due to receive any sort of compensation because we didn't offer him a new contract. So, despite his age, you know, he is available on a free transfer and Chelsea would pick him up for that. Listen, I'm not, sure he's of the ability to make it at a club like Chelsea, but I could definitely see the value in them picking him up, putting them into their youth system, loaning him out and then selling him on for a few years for a healthy profit, because there's definitely still a good player in there. Southampton midfielder Shea is on the radar of Leeds United this summer. Now, what Southampton would be demanding for the midfielder after a really good loan spell at Sheffield Wednesday, it remains to be seen. I think they'd be asking for quite a lot, to be honest with you, and considering he probably wouldn't go straight into that Leeds squad as an automatic starter, I'm not sure how much Leeds themselves would be prepared to pay. Listen, there's no doubt he's got a really high ceiling. He's just coming off the back of, like I say, a really good loan spell with Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship. Southampton themselves, when they signed him from Manchester City, paid, I think, a complete fee of £15 million with add-ons included, so they'll want to sell him for a profit if they are going to cash in. Whether or not Leeds will be prepared to go that high, I guess we'll have to wait and see. What I would say is he's still got a few years to run on his contract with Southampton. I think he'd be a really good asset for them in the Championship next season. But with Leeds supposedly sniffing around right now, we'll have to wait and see if they do lodge an official offer for him and how much that would be, because you'd be imagining, Southampton would be demanding a lot. Sheffield United youngster Sidney Peck has been scouted by West Ham as they're looking to rejuvenate their midfield and look for a few younger options in that position. No real surprise that he's attracting interest from the Premier League after the season he's just had for the Blades in the second tier. 35 starts for Sheffield United, 10 appearances off the bench, only 20 years old. He is on a decent contract at Sheffield United though until the summer of 2028, and you'd imagine they'd be demanding quite a bit of money to sell him to a Premier League side. Listen, I think we're going to get these rumours with a lot of this Sheffield United squad throughout the summer really. The majority of their big name players are going to be linked with Premier League moves. We've already seen it with Arblaster, Cooper the other day being linked with Everton, Gus Hamer. Suzy's going to attract those links as well. For Sheffield United, it's going to be very hectic over these next few weeks and months. But yeah, Peck is someone that is admired by West Ham, it would seem. Another Championship option that's been looked at by West Ham is Hayden Hackney. Once again, no surprise whatsoever that he's attracting interest from the Premier League. You've also got Spurs who are interested. Going back to January, at one point we had Porto who were being linked as well. Now he's under contract until 2027. He'll probably want a little bit of clarity on what's happening with Borough going into next season in terms of who their next manager is going to be, what role the new manager sees for Hackney in that Borough squad as well. But with a few Premier League teams sniffing around, and Borough do have the history of making a decent profit on those sorts of players, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Hackney ending up at a Premier League side going into next season. I think it's safe to say that Aaron Ramsdale won't be sticking around for Southampton's campaign in the Championship next season. He's already been linked with several clubs throughout these past few weeks. In the Premier League, you've currently got the likes of West Ham and Leeds United who are interested. You've also got Rangers as well, with Russ Martin interested in a potential reunion with his goalkeeper. I think we're going to see quite a few of these links coming out over these next few weeks, to be honest with you, linking Southampton players to Rangers. Obviously, on last time's video, we were speaking about Flynn Downs and his links there. The difficulty for a club like Rangers is, would they have the finances over a Premier League side to make that sort of deal happen for Ramsdale? Because, Southampton wouldn't want to let him go on the cheap, would they? Honestly, I think a move back to the Premier League seems more than likely. It's tended to happen throughout Ramsdale's career, and I could definitely see him at either a West Ham or a Leeds United. It's been reported that as many as 3 Championship clubs are currently interested in Oxford United midfielder Cameron Brannigan. Of those interested, you've got Sheffield United, Stoke and Leicester City. Now, Oxford absolutely won't want to lose Brannigan this summer. And to be fair to Oxford, Brannigan, even when the club were playing in League One, was constantly linked with a move to the Championship, but always snubbed those offers. He's well paid at Oxford, I believe still the highest paid player at the club. But especially with, a Leicester or a Sheffield United, could the lure of a parachute team be enough to tempt him out of that current contract? I think he's proven last season that, he's more than good enough to cut it in the Championship. While Oxford were playing their football in League One, he was consistently one of the best midfielders in that division. 3 goals, 4 assists for the 29-year-old in the season just gone by in the second tier. Yeah, Oxford are going to want to do everything they can to keep hold of him, aren't they? Another player that Oxford will no doubt be keen to keep hold of is Tyler Goodrum, but he continues to attract interest from plenty of Championship clubs, and according to some rumours coming out of Oxford, Southampton have supposedly seen a bid rejected for the 21-year-old. Now, it's not just Southampton that are interested. Earlier in the window, we spoke about Coventry being linked with the playmaker. You've had Middlesbrough sniffing around him at different points as well. He's under contract until 2027 with the option of a third year as well, so Oxford have quite a bit in their favour. Don't get me wrong, if they were to get a big transfer fee for him, I don't think a sale would be the worst thing in the world, provided that that money is then reinvested back into the squad. But we could potentially get a bit of a bidding war with him this summer with that many interested parties. Rangers are supposedly sniffing around Leicester City defender Connor Cody, who could be allowed to leave the club this summer. He's only got 1 year remaining on his current contract with the Foxes. Started in 19 league matches for Leicester in this Premier League season just gone by. Prior to that and in the Championship, didn't really play that much of a prominent role in that promotion, to be honest with you. 32 years old now, wouldn't be surprised if that's a move that's of interest to him. A number of League One clubs are supposedly interested in Hull City midfielder Javier Simmons, who obviously spent the second half of the last campaign out on loan with Wickham in League One. Of those interested, you've currently got the likes of Wigan, Blackpool, Bolton and Plymouth. He's only got 1 year remaining on his deal at Hull City, and it'd be interesting to see how much they can actually get for him as well. Brighton defender Odluga Afire is attracting interest from the Championship, with both Charlton and QPR supposedly interested. Now, he's coming off the back of a really good loan spell with Blackpool last season in League One. He's only 22 years old, just has 1 year remaining on his contract with Brighton, and the Premier League club is supposedly open to a permanent sale as well. So for either Charlton or QPR, I quite like the sound of that deal, to be honest with you. Like I say, with only 1 year remaining on his contract, you wouldn't imagine that the transfer fee would be ginormous to get him out of Brighton, and he definitely looks like a player who's ready for that next step in his career. Well, there you guys have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, if you're going to enjoy, make sure to drop a like, and any other news that we missed today, make sure to get it in the comments down below. Other than that though, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.